Hey!
Hey, how you doing?
That's
I'm
right.
Steve
There you go.
Peterson.
And I'm Jack Hinkle. I don't want to take your line. I feel like I can't save myself.
Hi, I'm Steve Peterson.
And I'm Jack Hinkle.
Welcome to Chops Podcast.
Why do we do that twice? Because you're getting distracted.
Yeah. What's
Okay.
the difference between ignorance and apathy? I don't know, and I don't care. That was from Dad Jokes.
Oh, that's what those are. Those magnets?
No,
Or
they're
just
just
cards.
So now if kids come in here and they want to be all
Oh, you're a
pouty, I'm like,
genius. What? Oh man, these are good.
double-sided. We took those to jazz band trying to guess them the other day. They're good.
Last night, me and my partner watched 3 movies back to back. Luckily, I was the one facing the TV.
That's good.
That's good. That is good.
Okay, so let's go.
What's the one word? What's like the buzzword that like wraps this episode's concept together? Service?
Humility?
No, it's pick it up. It's pick it up,
Okay, pick it up.
right?
Yeah, pick it up.
Pick it up. Every year since 2010,
Very good.
right?
Yep.
2010. The jazz program at Concord High School by Steve Peterson has had a little short phrase, kind of like motivational, but also a little jazzy, like there's always jazz roots to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it started in 2010 with E Pluribus Unum, right?
Yes.
That's when you read that Wynton Marsalis book, Let Freedom Swing,
Oh, that was good.
right?
Oh,
That's where you got that. E Pluribus
Yeah.
Unum out of many one.
yeah, and he did interviews with Sandra Day O'Connor and the Supreme Court justices. Oh, I think it was Sandra Day. Somebody, but he did interviews
Okay.
with them, and he got into the executive branch and legislative and the Supreme Court, the judicial, and talked about the ways that you have to navigate the law, interpret the law. So there has to be like a root. There has to be objective and finality, but then also there has to be nuance, and you have to be able to have a little subjectivity
Yeah.
to it. And that's
And the whole like checks and balances.
checks
thing,
and balances, and it comes into interpreting the law,
Right? Mhm.
right?
Yep. And
So-
then, yeah. So fast forward to this year,
Pick it up.
Steve made it pick it up. And
This is becoming more difficult to come up with 2-word phrases, but pick it up. So it could be like, pick it up. Come on, boys, girls, let's pick it up. Come on, move faster, right? Pick up the intensity. Be a little bit more active. Pick up the slack.
well, you took it a little more literal. and
Yes.
We're talking just like about trash.
Yeah, like a Dr. Tim thing, right?
Yes. Which, by the way, our principal, Dr. Molnar, I was like walking around the school with him on Friday.
Yeah,
Every single piece of trash,
he picked it up.
he just went straight for it, picked it up, said nothing, and just picked it up and threw it away. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
Where does the high school principal park?
Furthest away from the school, right?
Yes. Who gets here first?
High school principal.
Who leaves last?
High school principal.
What's the weather like today?
The high school Oh, you got me.
30 degrees and raining, right?
Yes.
So he parks furthest away.
Yes. Yes. Servant leadership.
Servant leadership.
So
Okay,
that
pick
was
it
an
up.
idea. Pick it up. And pick it up. I think that other meeting that we talked about with the kids is like if something needs to be done, do it.
Do it.
Like pick it up. Let's go. So that's something that we not only work to instill in our students, that whole motto of pick it up, but also something we want to model ourselves and pick it up. And I know you were a trash picker upper. I see you all the time.
Well, it's because I put the trash down there so I can reward myself for picking it up.
And then you look really cool when
Yep.
people see you do it. Yep. And also trying to take care of problems as they arise without making a big deal out of it, whatever that problem may be,
Right.
So pick it up. And how that can manifest in our lives with our students in the school.
Yep.
Okay. Go.
Yeah. Okay, go. I think, talking about Dr. Molnar, his wife, Colleen Molnar, she would always talk about that when she was the guard instructor here. If something needs to be done, do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that whole story. Like if it's crying, help soothe it. If it's dirty, clean it. If it's on the ground, pick it up, put it away. Right. So I think, yeah, the idea that like there are a certain amount of expectations that you have as a student or you have as a teacher or as an administrator.
Yes.
You have things outlined in your contract or in a student handbook.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's just a whole myriad of other things that are not written down, that are fall into the pick it up line,
Mm-hmm.
that are too many to notate.
For example, though.
Well, I would say, like showing up. Well, okay, we write down these things, and I'm trying to think of like some soft skills, like for, okay, like so, like for today in flutes and clarinets, I said, congratulations, you guys got all through your results of concert band,
Okay.
and there was really no drama. Good job.
Okay.
And that went over 3 days over the weekend. I said I got one email, and it was very kindly written, and we talked. Good job. I said, in the future, so something that would not be written down, but if you have a problem about something in my class, what is the best way to communicate that? And I said, raise your hand. And they said, talk to you in person. I said, bingo.
Perfect.
So that would be an example,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That I don't want to write that stuff down, but I think that's kind of like what we're looking for, is trying to problem solve.
Yeah.
We're trying to help others going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the person that we're across the table with or across the band room from, like a student, like a flute player, or a flute player sees me, they see me as an ally in solving problems.
Okay.
And I see them as an ally in solving problems. I don't see my student as causing although they do cause problems.
But that's their job.
That's their job, and it's job security for me. But
Yep. But you are on the same team.
right, so we're solving problems.
Yes.
And when I go to the student to talk about auditions, I don't do that in a manner that is like defensive. Right. It's like, well, let's look at it. Let's see what
Right.
this means. This is what this means. I'm not going to show you other people's scores, but I'm guessing this is probably what happened in the rankings and why you ended up here, and this is how you could improve, and this is how you did really well. And but you do that assuming that you're trying to problem solve with the other person. You're trying to help them out, and you're trying to help them out also without being asked. And sometimes if I have a conference with a student, I try to forecast 2 or 3 questions ahead and get to those questions, so when they leave, they feel okay.
Dude, isn't that like the most like teacher thing that you understand?
Yeah.
That like you have to play in the present, but you have to play in the future, and like, because you know where you want the conversation to head.
Right.
Oh,
And you
man.
want to be sincere
That's so
about it,
real.
and you want to address the situation at hand and not be dismissive of it, because that's real for that student, but then talk to them in a tone that they want to be talked in to, give them the information that they need, and then speculate about what could be done in the future.
Yes.
Right. And then so I think about that as a colleague, just like you would think about that as a colleague. Like you come in and we talk about pieces of music.
Yep.
Right. And you don't want just a yes or no.
No.
You want, like,
Tell
what
me
do you
why.
what do you think
What
about
do you
this
think? This?
piece of music? Okay, let's listen to it. Let's look at it. Well, have we done this before? What kind of instrumentation do you have? What kind of players do you have playing this part, this part, this part, this part? What can we do? So we're on the same team.
Okay, here's one example of Pick It Up at the jazz concert.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 examples, 2 really good
I
examples.
know where you're going with
The
this.
first one is like so fascinating, but we have done, I think I've had like 5 or 6 or 7 jazz concerts
Okay.
since I took over 3 and now
Yeah.
2. But there's always been someone that leaves their music at home. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like we go months with everybody having their music at school. And then like the one day there's a concert, they're like, I don't have it. And like 3 kids that did not have their music.
Right.
And then 2 of them forgot their music one time at the same concert last year when
Oh,
they
I
were in the
remember
jazz
that.
band.
Yeah, I remember
And I
that.
talked to that girl. She was like, Mr. Hinkle, I left my music at home. And I said, didn't you do that last year? She's like, yes, but I texted my parents are already on the way. And I was like, perfect. Like, I am not going to like grill a kid when they've already solved the problem,
Right.
you know? And like, as unfortunate as it is, like, we have really good kids that are like so quick and thankful that, you know, their parents are nearby and they can just like drive it here. But most of them are like already looking in the cubbies for
Yes.
replacements. And if they can't find them, they'll let me know. And they'll
Right.
say, hey, do you have the original for this? And I'll go, sure, give it back. So that was Pick It Up example number 1. Pick It Up 2 is a little bit gnarlier, but like very real.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're playing my Jazz 2 is up on stage, and those are my kids. And bass player
Mm-hmm.
started to feel something like slippery, she told me afterward. And this is like during the performance. And apparently her skin broke on her finger, which if you play jazz bass, you've probably experienced some blisters at some point, but during a concert, maybe not. And there was, is this okay to talk about on the I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
There was like a pool of blood.
Yeah.
Because the skin on her finger broke. And props to this bass player because she just kept.
Gosh.
She told me after the fact it didn't even hurt. She just like didn't notice it until afterward.
God bless her, and she got all the way through the concert.
She got all that tune plus a whole other tune that she like totally bled through on the finger as she was going. And that we were switching bands at the end, and your band was coming on, and then you were running into the band room like, you okay? You're like, I'm just cleaning up some blood. He's running back with the Lysol wipes.
Thanks, COVID.
Thanks, COVID, for supplying us with those. But your student in Jazz 1 totally took care of that.
Yep.
Wiped it all down. Well, not that part because that's not safe for a kid to do. Like, you
Right,
need some
right.
PPE to make that happen.
Yes.
But after the concert was over, that student, like, not only, like, kind of cleaned and tweaked the bass, but, like, completely removed the bridge and just saw it as an opportunity to restore that bass.
And cleaned it.
And cleaned it.
And that student was in here early the next day. That student didn't even have to be here at school because they have an internship. They came in early,
Yes.
took it apart again because we had a new bass pickup,
Yes.
and disassembled the bass and the bridge, got out the new part and then the new pickup, and then put that back into the bass and assembled it and took the old one and gave it to our technical director of the stage.
And that's like such a way that student could have looked at it as like, I have to do this, but that student was like, I am so happy to do this.
It was awesome.
Yes.
And then before school even started, it was all fixed up. And then the student that had the boo-boo on her finger wasn't like felt ashamed or embarrassed because like the leadership, the girl that was on the other part of it, like helped out so much. It was just like, I think she just felt happy that her classmate was that kind.
Yeah. I mean, even though that was probably like an unfortunate experience, I mean, that turned out to be a positive in a few ways. So I was really happy. I was really happy for that student that she was kind of able to tough it out and just go and play, and happy for the other student that she had a good experience that night, like a good musical run.
Yeah.
That was a good run for her, but also just like taking care of each other and taking care of the equipment. Like, that's cool. That's really cool.
That was great.
So we're really lucky that our kids are kind of that caliber and of that mindset. It is not, however, true all the time.
No.
Not every kid is like
No.
in the pick it up mode.
Oh boy.
This was today. This is my moment where I go classic. I have a student in one of my classes that struggles to show up to class on time.
Okay.
Normal high school stuff. Today was the day I chose to be a little more direct with the student and a little more firm. And while this is like so classic, while I'm telling the student to make sure that they are there on time and, use your time wisely in passing period, the student pulls out the vacation request slip for me to sign.
For tomorrow?
for like post, like the week before break for Christmas. They're like, hey, so, sorry, can you sign this? And I was like, I hope you can appreciate the irony.
Well, it would be like Homer Simpson going into the bushes, coming back out.
That was so luscious in my day. So that's just a little different experience that I wanted to share with you.
That's good. That's right on par with that. it's kind of looking beyond the distance of your own nose,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking to see what else needs to be done, or
Yep.
maybe how somebody else, your actions could benefit somebody else,
Yes.
and how your thoughts could benefit somebody else, and what could you do to help the situation?
And what a hard thing to teach. What a hard thing to teach, right? And another time I thought of this, or another time that this is an example of this occurred, I remember on the jazz trip 2 years ago, we went to Chicago, and we went to that pizza place.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
totally know what you're talking about. The
Now-
shark feeding
The
frenzy.
sh-
Gosh.
Ah!
Pizza! Pizza! The kids are like nom 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 nom. You know.
And
Okay, what was
For-
the shining star of that? What was the pick it up?
there isn't one, but it's just like a good
No.
opportunity because now
Well-
here's how I would spin it. Set the stage.
I'll spin that pizza right back in their face.
What was the student teacher versus retired teacher? Shut it down! Shut it down! Just want to meet you where you're at. The only place going to meet you where you're at is we're out on the field jousting. Let's go. That was you. That was you like 2 weeks ago. That was good.
Pizza.
So we're at a pizza place and it's like kind of nicer, like in Chicago somewhere.
This pizzeria, right?
And you as a teacher, you have to put in the order well ahead of time. Say we're going to have this many kids. You show up and you wait, and then they bring it out buffet style, right? And as soon as that first pizza landed, like 12 or 13, like not kidding, 12 or 13 kids just like moved as fast as
I don't
they've
even
ever moved in
think
their life.
I don't even think they walk. They levitate.
No, like they could be like running for their lives. Like
it's kind of like if you've ever been in a koi pond and you throw the little kibbles in there and they all go whoosh, right? That's
Yep.
what it was.
That's
like.
what it was.
And the pizza was gone.
And the pizza was gone. But so here's the weird thing. If they were like with their families, they would not do that.
No.
I'm convinced they would not. But for some reason, you put a bunch of kids together at a school thing, they all get up. And I remember you told me afterwards, you're like talking with some other kids. You're like, how do you teach that how do you teach that skill? But I just think that that's like a good example because those are like really good kids. Those are really good kids. And that's like something that's like anti-pick it up. That's like put it down.
Yeah,
Put it down.
It is. Yeah, no, that's a good thing to. I mean, that was a teaching example, right?
And it's not something too you can say that was wrong of you.
No.
Because it's not. It's like not a misbehavior, it's not a bad skill, but like if I wanted to make the culture of my group something really meaningful and powerful, I would want to make sure that that's a behavior that doesn't exist.
Right.
But how do you teach that? I don't know. I got nothing. No hunger.
Well, being selfless is not thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less often.
That's good.
I picked that up from somebody else. But it's kind of like taking time out of your day or your week or your weekend to say, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And at least if you just do that like quietly or to yourself, like, I wonder what they need. Right? And if you can model that to your students, now I would say that would be exceptional for a high school student to come up to me and say, or to you and say, what do you need?
But it happens.
It does happen. And I think the times that it's happened, and I'm not saying this to say, see, we told them what to say, but that students do respond because we've said, Jazz Cafe. Like when we set up Jazz Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
And we tell them, if you don't know what to do, find Mr. Hinkle or Mr. Peterson and say, what do you need?
Yes.
Because we usually have a list of things that maybe people are not aware of that are smaller jobs that need to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so say that. What do you need? And I think I saw that last night. We set up for the band banquet, the marching band banquet, and the seniors, they're like, I'm not sure what to do. What can I do to help?
Perfect.
You know? And it wasn't like, I don't know what to do. It was like, what can I do to help?
It always seems like those kids want to be busy. Like when they're at those things, they're like, give me something to do, but they just have a hard time finding it. So as you said, just like come up and ask. And I do think, I think that those events that we do here are like so beneficial to kids because they do the tear up, tear down. Like especially Jazz Cafe.
Yep.
That's a lot of labor. And most of it's not even done by us. It's done by the tech crew.
And it's done in a short amount of time.
Yes. But those are like really fun nights because the kids are just moving like wildfire,
Right.
trying to get everything out and put it away and take it up. And they can look on that set, and it's a really cool stage, and they can say, like, I did that.
I helped with
I
that.
helped with that.
make that happen.
And, you know, you're very good about this, and I'm trying to do it more too, is like acknowledge Mr. Preheim, like every time. I told Jazz 2 and Jazz 3 this the day after our concert last week. I was like, I don't think many schools, high school jazz concerts look like that.
No.
Like stage, lights, mics for all saxophones and the rhythm section totally mic'd up, risers for the brass,
Mm-hmm.
Lo-
Colored
colored lights that change with the song. Are you kidding me? And I told him, like, you know, most jazz concerts right now are in a gym with fluorescent lights and those foldy chairs that suck you in.
Yep.
That's it looks like what I said was band festival. Like it looks
Yep.
like our band festival, but that's like every school what they do. And like we are so lucky to have him, and he does it not because he has to, but because he really enjoys the final product
Yeah.
and
He
letting you
enjoys
do
sharing the goods, like the sound and lighting equipment. He enjoys sharing that with the students and kind of letting it run for what it was made for.
that. And I shared with them the time like when I was playing with your band, I think, on guitar, and my pedal cable was like totally jacked up, like
Oh,
not
yeah.
working well.
Yeah.
And he just came out with a new one for that. He didn't even tell me, and I didn't really even notice.
Yeah,
but
I
like
remember,
he
yeah.
installed a new one, and then like a day or two after, he's like, "Do you like your new cable?" And I was like, "Oh, did you bring that for me?" He goes, "No, I made it."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah, I
"What?"
made a cable from scratch. Yep.
And he's just doing it because it needs to be done.
Yeah, so that would be a good. We should have Scott Preheim in here.
He would be.
He'd be a good.
He'd be a master of like, get it done, taskmaster,
Yeah.
but also like problem solving.
problem solving.
I mean, he does
Right.
everything so
Right.
well.
So
Yeah.
I think you think also about your legacy,
What do we think about the legacy?
that if you were evaporated like immediately, like in the next 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
like what is it that you left for others to learn from? What is your not like lasting impression? I don't mean to sound like that, like end of life kind of thing,
How
but
would they remember you?
yeah. But what kind of attitude, like when you, well, it's like that bumper sticker in Heather Bones' door.
What does that say?
It's something about like, it's a famous quote. I don't know if who's it from, if it's Maya Angelou but it's like, people don't remember you don't remember what people gave you. You don't remember what they said about you, but you remember how they made you feel.
'Kay.
So I guess when you think about somebody coming into your life, like into your balcony, like they're walking into your line of sight in your mind, do you go, "Ah!" or do you go, "Hey, welcome back"? You know? Or if you saw them on the street or in the hallway, you're like, "Oh, wow, it's so great to see you." Or you're like, you know, like Oliver
Oliver.
looking at. But what is that legacy, that parting shot that people are left with? Are they attracted to like find out more about you or wanting to be in your presence? You know, and I think that about, like, obviously there are some students that are easier to be around.
Sure.
Right? Because they kind of give off this vibe like, it's good. And then some students you kind of sometimes have to take a wider turn. Shocking, but I mean, it's not as easy to talk to some students.
And they feel the same way about teachers, and
Right.
that's fine
No,
too. Like some people
it's-
just gel.
And it's really not a teacher-student thing. It's
just
kind of a
people.
human thing, right? There's people at my church. Now there's an odd one, but there's people at my church, which is kind of goes against my whole theology philosophy of life. But there are some people there that I'm like, you know? So, but I think about like, how can I help you? Am I making your life easier or more painful?
Right. And an example of that is like what you're saying. If you evaporate, how does the ship run when the captain leaves?
Yeah. Ooh, oh boy.
Like I was not with my students on Friday.
Right.
Thank you for hanging out with Jazz 3.
It's my pleasure.
Sure it was. But like we for whatever reason, we end up having to leave from time to time our classes, and it's usually not like we're taking a day off. It's like a conference, a performance, a field trip, something. And
got COVID.
It got COVID, been there. Shutting down the school because you got COVID. But it's one of those things where it's like, how has the previous 1 month, 2 month, 3 months of the leadership set up the room so that the room can function on its own? Like, what gifts did you impart to them? So what skills did you impart with them that they can function or not function on their own? And I think some times when I've left or I've had to get a sub, and if you have an ensemble, the kids typically run the rehearsals themselves.
Yeah.
Some of them go well, and there are some classes that I don't prepare properly, and then the classes like totally tank. And I'm like, "What'd you guys do on Friday?" They're like, "Nothing. You had the Canvas assignment locked." I'm like,
Dip.
Been there though. Been there. They're like, "Yeah, we sent you 25 emails. Didn't you see them?" I was like, "Oh,
No.
Look at you. Look at you."
Yeah.
Yeah. So pick it up.
I think that's a good. Yeah.
You got a jazz team for next year?
No.
I was going to use Share Your Gift, but I don't want to play that tune again.
I don't want you to play it either. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I should make a tune. Pick it up. There's pick up the pieces.
Pick it up. Oh, that could. There you go. You gonna write a tune?
I don't know. Could write it. We could collaborate on a tune.
How did I get roped into this?
Because you sounded excited. You could write the rhythm section parts. I'll write the horn parts.
Pick it up. Copyright Chops Podcast LLC.
Okay,
I gotta go. LLC.
I gotta go.
You
okay.
got.
Okay, but one last thing. What? I said I gotta go. The other thing is, we've talked about this before on the podcast, is that people have huge amounts of time. Huge. I think that's like every podcast from now on. Huge.
You do it so much better than me. I put that in a reel for this week, and yours looks good, and I just I don't know what I'm doing with my hands when I say
do you watch
huge.
people that...
I try not to watch...
No. Do you watch people that imitate Donald Trump?
No.
Okay.
But you do.
I do.
Shane Gillis?
Yeah, and they talk about what's huge.
Huge.
And they yeah, okay.
Putting too much H.
Okay,
Huge.
Huge.
It's huge with a Y.
Huge. Okay, so I have the best friends. I have absolutely the finest friends in the world. I have the best friends in the world. Okay. No, but we talked about this on one of the episodes many moons ago. My friend Pete, when I came into Chicago, in the middle of the night, I came in the middle of the night, and I called him in the middle of the night, 4 a.m. He saw it was me, and the first thing he said was, "What do you need?" I mean, that should be on your tombstone, right?
What do you need?
What do you need? I mean, what else? He wasn't mad that I was calling him. And it wasn't even what's so bad? It was kind of how can I help you in the process?
Yes.
Which is what you'd want. I mean, that's the vibe you'd want to give out to people, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What do I need right now? I need to go.
We got our band banquet tonight, and someone didn't bring his fancy clothes.
No.
I did. I'm prepared. Well, he knew you were planning on going home. I go, "Steve, can we record?" You're like, "No, I got to go home." We got a good half an hour in. We're fine.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, follow us, subscribe to us, like us, and repost and reshare. Give us reviews.
We can be huge.
5
We
stars.
want to be huge.
We only have 29 reviews on Apple. Come on, you guys can go. I know
Listen,
how many followers are.
You want to love us? We love you. We love you. You got to love us with the same huge heart that we love you with. Okay. Now I sound like I'm in the mob. Okay.
No, that was good. I was into that. I was like,
Okay,
"Oh,
thank you.
but you
Thank
go."
you. Thank you. Okay. So for Steve Peterson,
Jack Hinkle.
we're out of here.
See ya.